I'm irritated at the lawfare that is being unleashed against Trump's agenda at every turn. And now it's like this administration is having to play whack-a-mole in the courts instead of just enacting the people's will. Every day it's another lawsuit to try to stop what Trump clearly has the power to do. And what I see after the whole morning researching this bullshit, okay, that's like 3 swears within the first 3 minutes. My apologies to the people who have their kids watching this, is that Trump's winning. He's winning these cases, right? But think of the distraction by his lawyers, by his federal agencies, everything Elon's doing, they're trying to stop bit by bit. We can't, and all Elon's doing right now is trying to get information. What is the Treasury paying out? To whom? All of Trump's cabinet heads, like Treasury, EPA, out there, like what grants have we given in the waning days of the Biden administration, and to whom, against the taxpayers' wish? It's just boondoggle. They've just been like throwing money off of a sinking ship, the Biden administration. Trump and Elon are like, whoa, let's hold on. Let's just see. We don't approve this and we can stop it. That the Democrats sue them saying you have to allot the funds because Biden said so or Congress said so. And you're not even allowed to access who's getting paid what by whom in some of these agencies. And bit by bit, Trump is winning and will continue to win. But this is the most subversive shit. Okay, that's 4. That's 4 within the first 4 minutes. So
let's keep it rolling.
Who would like to kick it off on that?
Well, look, Megyn, I think on one hand, you're absolutely right. It is completely nonsense. And the fact that there is a cottage industry of liberal-funded think tanks and 501c4s, they're going to make a mess out of everything. It's just a reality. And when you can't win politically, Democrats try to do it through the courts. I mean, that's why the first Trump administration was so important, that they reshaped an awful lot of courts. But of course, they're venue shopping here, and they're trying to find the last vestiges of liberal courtship.
I mean, there is a cottage industry of NGOs and libs, but there's also a mindset in Washington, D.C. that this money somehow belongs to them. They forget that people work so hard for what they earn, and it's taken from them at gunpoint every April 15th, and people are just hoping that somebody in government will spend it wisely. And what we've seen over the last few decades is that it hasn't been spent wisely. And Elon Musk and President Trump are doing everything they can to expose the waste, fraud, and abuse that is rampant in our government. And if they weren't doing that right now, I mean, I shudder to think about what would be happening this year and how much more of everybody's who's listening to this show's money that they turn in.
Ashbrook brings up a really good point about what really is the deep state. I think in the common vernacular, we've come to think of the deep state as like this intelligence apparatus or this blob that really impeded the success of Donald Trump in his first administration. But it's wider than that. It's this permanent bureaucracy that exists in Washington, D.C. to stop progress, to stop the government from being efficient.
Or any change.
Any change at all, right? And so, I mean, that's what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are up against, is all of these bureaucrats who've suckled at the teat of government for their entire lives, and they don't want that to change.
Wow, we got a little like R-rated there.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that.
Following your lead, Megyn.
No, we're keeping it very spicy. Suckled at the teat. Okay. I feel like I'm following Kanye West's X feed. Okay, my eyes have not recovered from what I saw over the weekend. Here are just a couple of examples, okay, I'm going to give you. You recall that they sued to stop Elon, his so-called fork in the road offering, saying to all these federal fat employees, some are skinny. I mean, fat cat. I mean, like sitting there on the taxpayer dime. There many not doing much, just sort of getting to be an aging bureaucrat on our dime. Said, if you guys want to leave the federal government, go with God. There's your off-ramp. Go, and we'll actually give you a nice little package. Goodbye. We'll pay you through March, 8 months of payment, which is more than you would normally get. And, peace out. And it turns out now, the final number is 75,000 bureaucrats took the deal. So we're 75,000 people slimmer in the federal bureaucracy ranks, but not before they tried to sue him. This federal employees union sued him to say, You can't offer that. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, no one's being forced to take it. It was a voluntary thing. You can't offer that because you don't technically have funding through March or past March, whatever, to get us to 8 months. That was the argument. Anyway, they just lost that. Now, a federal judge is allowing it. The so-called fork in the road offer stands. The final number of retirees is 75,000, and Elon won that fight. Then there was the next one where they sued the Trump administration. 20 blue states challenged this OMB directive. They're the ones who kind of run personnel at the federal level. They challenged the OMB directive to freeze federal funding. OMB said, we're not just going to stop paying like all this money out into all these plans until we can figure out what we're spending money on. And he got sued for doing that. And then the Trump administration just won that one too, because they issued a TRO stopping the stopping of the funding, so it had to resume. And at the next hearing, the judge said, never mind, I'm going to lift my temporary restraining order. You can do what you want. So that's going to stop as well. You can't force Trump to spend money on programs that he doesn't know what's in them or whether he approves of them. This is all within the executive branch, branch. So they lost that one too. And, bit by bit, they're going to lose most of these. I said the other day, I think it'll be 9 out of 10. They won't lose all, but they're losing most of them. Meanwhile, they're slow rolling the Trump agenda. And, Trump's irritated. There's the other thing. So he went and he clawed back that, what was it, $59 million that we gave to New York City to pay for the illegal immigrants to enjoy their stay at the Roosevelt Hotel and otherwise. We clawed it back. Kristi Noem got it out of the New York City coffers and said, we're taking it back. Now New York's going to sue the federal government for, quote, stealing our money, the New York City taxpayers. That's our money. That's the federal government. It's not going to be nonstop lawfare. And you guys know how mired that shit can get. It can just take up all of your energy.
Yeah, no question about it. And that money, by the way, was FEMA money. And tell the people of Western North Carolina, right, Smug?
That's the thing is we've gone through 4 years of a federal government that completely ignored its own citizens. I mean, American citizens. And all this money is being shoveled to Manhattan, some of the most expensive real estate on earth, to house illegal aliens in hotels that are charging $700 a night at full occupancy. So the hotel owners love this deal. The people of New York who have suffered, I've had multiple friends, I've had family members who left New York City because of all the crime that's going on there. So the citizens weren't the concern of the government. And now you actually have a president who cares about the citizens. And what you're seeing is these entrenched interests trying to keep the status quo that they've had of American citizens being ignored. Western North Carolina is a prime example of how FEMA pretty much abandoned those people. And we have examples of, for political reasons, they were abandoned. But they want the $59 million to be paid to people who broke the law and entered the country. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, all these liberal entrenched NGOs are like a J.G. Wentworth commercial. They're like, it's my money and I want it now.
Can you guys explain those as Washington insiders? Can you explain the NGO graft?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, this is one of the progressive left's biggest multi-decade victories in the world. NGOs and what you do through like USAID, which has come under great scrutiny over the last 2 years, or last two weeks, I should say. The initial intent behind all of it is sort of soft power, right? Whereas the United States can exert economic leverage against people who may not have our best interests in mind in a bunch of regions throughout the world where we need some help, whether it's a footprint from the United States is against terrorism as it was for much of the first 20 years, I guess, of this century. You could have programs that were set up to basically buy some influence within a country that could be helpful or unhelpful. The intent was right. What happened over time is the progressive left took this as a pot of money to social engineer internationally. And because it was so not prescriptive in terms of where they were awarding this money, they have these NGOs that are like in Tanzania doing transgender studies.
Right.
And
it's true, like literally.
Literally. And if the more you dig into it, the more you find out that the use of this money is not about keeping the American people safe at all. There is some of that. And those people, unfortunately, have to suffer the same result as everybody else because of what the progressive left has done and perverted this entire program to a point where, I mean, there's not a single American taxpayer that would agree with 9/10 of what Elon Musk has talked about in terms of where this USAID money is going.
Right. Oh, for sure. These cuts are going to have majority support. And so far, the polling shows they have majority support. Elon's struggling somewhat in his approval ratings, depending on who you ask, which pollster you ask. But people like Doge and they like cuts. And they're not on the side of the federal bureaucrats. And they love Trump. I mean, his numbers are great. I mean, Elon's the forward-facing, sort of picture of all this. So he's a controversial guy just because of X and so on. So liberals don't like him. We continue to face uncertainty when it comes to the economy, with a perfect storm brewing as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point as the largest generation is hitting retirement. It's not a good confluence of events. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. You pair all this with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, we could have a very big problem on our hands. So, what are you doing right now to protect your family for the future? Gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it does not cost you one penny out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text MK to 989898 and get your free info kit on gold, as well as a copy of the Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, just information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. Text my initials MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.